Chapter 1. The girl everyone feared. People told me to stay away from Liana. They said she laughed at rules, broke hearts for sport, and smiled while rumors burned. I nodded like I believed them. But the truth, I still watched her. Not in a creepy way, more like you watch a storm crawl closer across the sky and tell yourself you're just checking the weather. I'm serious, man, Daniel warned at lunch. She ruins people. People ruin themselves. I said, exactly. She speeds it up. He bit into his apple like that ended things. I kept staring at the courtyard. Liana sat under the jacaranda, purple petals stuck in her hair. People drifted to her and away again, but she never moved. She was the center. Miss Clark caught me staring in English. Focus, please. Underline the verbs. I underlined the word ruin by accident. Daniel saw it and smirked. I know what you're thinking. If everyone warns you someone's trouble, you stay away. I tried. But trouble has its own gravity. It pulls. You lean without meaning to. By the time school ended, rain marched across the field in gray sheets. I pulled up my jacket hood and walked home. The smell of wet dust thickened the air. It reminded me of childhood blackout scandals on the table. My mother whispering not to fear thunder because it couldn't fit in our room. At home, I dropped my bag, made tea I didn't need, and told myself I'd start homework early. I tell myself things like that a lot. My phone buzzed. Daniel, stay away from her. She is nice guys. I typed back, relax. He replied with a skull emoji, subtle. The rain hammered harder, filling the gutters until they gurgled like drowning throats. A gate banged somewhere up the street. A dog barked once, then stopped. The air tasted sharp. Metallic. 3 soft knocks hit my door. I froze. The sound didn't belong to the house. It belonged to the storm. Knock, knock, knock. I swallowed. Who is it? My voice sounded too thin. No answer. My hand trembled as I turned the lock. The door swung open, and there she was, Liana. Rain clung to her hair like threads of night. Her school jacket was dark and dripping. She pressed her hands into her sleeves like she was hiding from the cold door from me. Her eyes locked on mine, steady, unreadable. Hi, she whispered. Her voice was softer than I imagined. Can I come? And Chapter 2. The night that changed everything. For a moment, I just stared at her. The rain hissed behind her, washing the street in silver. But all I could hear was the beat in my ears. Liana, the girl everyone warned me about, the girl I swore I'd never get close to. And now she was on my porch, dripping water into the crack between the doormat and my shoes. My throat dried out. What are you doing here? Her lips pressed together, trembling just a little before she forced them steady. I needed somewhere to go. I should have said no. I should have shut the door, locked it, sent Daniel a message saying, guess what, you were right. But instead, I stepped aside. She brushed past me, her wet sleeve grazing my arm. The touch was ice, but it burned through me anyway. Inside, she looked smaller. She pulled her jacket tighter around herself. The water still dripped onto the floor. You're soaked, I muttered, searching for a towel. My voice cracked like I'd forgotten how to talk. Rain does that, she said, dry, almost amused. But her hands betrayed her. They shook when she pushed her hair back. I found a towel and handed it over. She pressed it against her face, hiding for a second. When she lowered it, her eyes were rimmed red. Though she hadn't cried, or maybe she had, and the rain did the hiding. You can't stay here, I said carefully. People will talk. They already talk. Her voice dropped like it carried years of weight. They'll talk no matter what. She was right. Tomorrow, whispers would slice through the hallways, faster than the rain down the gutters. But watching her stand in my living room, dripping and fragile in a way no one at school had ever seen, I couldn't push her back out into the storm. Just for tonight, I said. Her shoulders loosened, as if she'd been holding her breath. Thank you. We sat at the kitchen table. I made her tea, though she only cupped it for warmth, never drinking. Silence stretched. I stared at the steam curling from her mug. Finally, I asked, "Why me?" She tilted her head, the faintest smile on her lips. "You don't stare at me like the others." I almost choked. "I don't. You watch me," she said, shrugging. "But you don't stare. It's different." My chest tightened. "That's not an answer. It's the only one I have right now." I didn't know what that meant, but the way she said it kept me quiet. The clock ticked, the rain hammered. Outside, the world blurred into darkness. But in here, the air felt sharp, bright, too alive. Finally, she whispered, "Can I stay the night?" I looked at her, this girl who was supposed to be a storm, who was supposed to wreck lives and laugh. About a tan, all I saw was someone who didn't want to be outside anymore. "Yeah," I said. "You can." She nodded once, like she'd expected the answer all along. I set up the couch with spare blankets, but when I turned, she was standing there, close enough that the damp warmth of her skin brushed mine. "Why are you helping me?" she asked softly. The truth tangled in my throat. I didn't know. Curiosity? Defiance? The way her eyes carried secrets like broken glass. Maybe all of it died instead. I said, "Because you asked." Her expression flickered surprise, maybe even relief, but it vanished as quickly as it came. She stepped back, curled under the blanket, and turned her face away. I lay awake in my room long after, staring at the ceiling. Every sound of the storm carrying her name died at some point. My phone buzzed again. "Daniel, don't say I didn't warn you," I almost replied, but stopped when I heard her voice, muffled through the thin wall. She was whispering, not to me, but to someone on the phone. "Yeah, I'm here," she said, voice trembling. Don't come looking, please." My stomach dropped. Who was she talking to? Why was she really here? I lay in the dark, listening, my heart pounding. That night, the rain didn't let up, and neither did my questions. Chapter 3. Whispers behind my back. Next morning, the rain had stopped, but the storm followed me to school anyway. I hadn't slept much. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard her whispering on the phone again, voice shaking. By the time the alarm went off, my head buzzed with questions I couldn't answer. When I walked into class, people stared, not the casual kind of staring, but the heavy kind, like I was suddenly a headline. Daniel leaned against my desk, smirking. "So, you finally let her in?" I froze. "What are you talking about?" He leaned closer, lowering his voice, but not enough. "Don't play dumb. Everyone knows Liana spent the night at your place." He climbed up my neck. "That's not—" I stopped. Denying it would only make it worse. From the back, someone whispered, "Told you he'd fall." Another laugh rippled. Miss Clark entered, and the noise died. But the looks didn't. Through the morning, the whispers crawled down hallways and clung to me like wet clothes. At lunch, my tray sat untouched while Daniel shoved fries into his mouth. "You should have told me," he said. "I didn't. There's nothing to tell." He raised an eyebrow. "She shows up at your door in the rain, and suddenly you're Mr. Nothing to Tell. Come on, man." I slammed my fist against the table, harder than I meant to. The cafeteria went quiet for half a second before noise surged back. Daniel leaned back, shaking his head. "You're digging your own grave." When I finally left, I found her under the jacaranda again, sunlight flickering through the dripping branches. She sat alone, head down. "You told people," I said, sharper than I meant. Her eyes lifted slowly. Calm. Too calm. "No, I didn't then." How have I stopped? Maybe she didn't have to. Maybe one person saw her at my door, and that was enough to ignite the fire. She stood, brushing petals from her hair. "It doesn't matter. They always find something to say." Her voice was tired, like she'd lived this scene 100 times before. I wanted to believe her, but the knot in my chest twisted tighter. "You could have warned me." Her lips curved not quite a smile. "And you still would have let me in." She was right, and it made me hate myself a little. The rest of the day dragged. Teachers gave me side glances, as if rumors left stains on my skin. By last period, I wanted nothing more than to vanish. On my way out, I caught Daniel again. He pulled me aside, eyes narrowing. She's using you. That's what she does. Ask anyone she's been with. I shoved his hand off me. You don't know her, neither do you. He shot back. I walked away before I said something worse. Home. The silence felt different. She wasn't there. She'd slipped out before dawn, but the air still carried her shape. I dropped onto the couch, staring at the ceiling, Daniel's words echoing. Maybe he was right. Maybe I didn't know her. But when I thought of her standing at my door, soaked and trembling, I couldn't believe she was just playing me still. Something gnawed at me. Her whispered call. The way she said, "Don't come looking." She wasn't just hiding from rumors. She was hiding from something else. And now, so was I. Chapter 4. The confession. That night, I couldn't focus on anything. Homework sat untouched. My phone buzzed with Daniel's warnings, but all I could hear was her voice from the night before whispering through my wall, begging someone not to come looking. By 9, rain tapped against the windows again, softer this time, like a reminder. I tried to drown it out with music, but then came another knock. My chest tightened. I opened the door. She stood there again, hood up, eyes darker than the night. No jacket this time, just a thin sweater clinging to her. You're back, I said. Can I? She whispered. I didn't even answer. I just stepped aside. She moved past me, shivering as she dropped onto the couch. For a long moment, silence stretched between us. Finally, I asked, "Why me, Liana? Why here?" Her hands twisted together in her lap. She stared at them like the answer was written there. Because I had nowhere else. That's not an answer. My voice cracked sharper than I meant. Her head lifted, eyes glassy. You really want to know? Yes, she inhaled slow, then let it out. And for the first time, her mask slipped. My stepfather, she said. He's not what people think. Everyone says he's this charming guy. Generous, funny. But when the doors close, she cut off, shaking her head. He's not. He's cruel. The word hung in the air, heavy, choking. I sat down across from her. Cruel how? Her laugh broke. Raw. Does it matter? Yelling, breaking things, grabbing too hard, making me feel like dirt in my own house. And my mom, she pretends it's fine. She tells me not to make him angry. But it's never about me. He's already angry. Always. My stomach knotted. Suddenly, all the rumors at school felt like smoke hiding the real fire. So you ran, I whispered. I had to. Her voice trembled. And when the rain started, I thought of you. I thought you're quiet. You don't look at me like I'm something broken or dirty. I thought maybe I'd be safe here. Her eyes burned into mine, searching for judgment. I had none. Only the weight of something too big for me to hold, but somehow already mine. I swallowed. Why didn't you tell anyone? A teacher? The police? She shook her head violently. They'd never believe me. He's too perfect in public. And if I tried, he'd find out. And then she stopped, pressing her nails into her palms until her knuckles whitened. I wanted to reach for her hands, to stop her from hurting herself, but I froze. Instead, I whispered, I believe you. Her eyes widened, like no one had ever said that before. She blinked fast, and for a moment I thought she might cry. But she didn't. She just pulled the blanket tighter, curling into herself. Thank you, she said. 2 words so soft they nearly broke me. We sat there in the quiet, only the rain filling the gaps. My thoughts spun wild. Daniel's warnings, the rumors, the looks in class, they were all noise compared to this truth. She wasn't the storm. She was standing in the middle of one. You can stay here tonight, I told her, for as long as you need. Her lips, curved, faint, tired, careful. I might take you up on that. Then do, I said. Something eased in her shoulders. For the first time, she leaned back, let herself breathe. But as I sat there, watching her sink into the couch, one thought stabbed through me. Letting her in meant letting her storms into dot, and storms don't just pass. They leave marks. Chapter 5. Betrayal in broad daylight. He should have known peace wouldn't last. For a few nights, she stayed. Quiet, careful. Sometimes we talked until sunrise. Sometimes she just curled on the couch with a blanket pulled to her chin while I sat nearby, pretending to study. It almost felt normal to people hiding from the world. But normal doesn't last when the world decides you don't deserve it. By Monday, the storm hit full force. I was halfway down the hallway when I felt the stares, not the usual side glances. These burn. Snickers slipped behind my back. Someone muttered, "Leanna's new toy." Another voice laughed, "Poor guy." I clenched my fists and kept walking. Then Daniel's voice cut through. "Hey, lover boy." I froze. He leaned against the lockers, arms folded, a grin stretched wide. A circle of people crowded around him. "Guess you've been busy," he said loudly, waving his phone. "You want everyone to see the messages." My stomach dropped. "What messages?" He tapped his screen and started reading. "Can I come over tonight? I don't feel safe at home. Don't tell anyone." His grin sharpened. "Sounds familiar?" Leanna's words, her fear, private, and now spilling out like trash in front of the whole school. "You hacked her phone," I snapped. "Relax," he said. "She's not the only one who talks. People share things when they realize who she's with. And trust me, bro, you're not the first. You're just the dumbest." Laughter broke around us. I felt it like knives in my skin. "Shut up," I said, voice low. "What was that?" He cupped his ear. "Speak louder. Or maybe Liana can speak for you." My blood surged hot. "Don't drag her into this. Too late." He smirked. "She dragged you. I'm just helping you wake up." The crowd leaned. "And hungry?" Daniel knew how to play them loud enough for whispers to become truth, sharp enough to turn rumor into spectacle. "Tell me," he shouted. "What's it like being her charity case? She shows up at your house crying. You open the door, and now she's your girlfriend, cute, until she finds the next guy dumb enough to play hero." The laughter roared this time. My chest burned. I wanted to hit him. My fist itched. My jaw clenched. But Leanna's face flashed in my mind the way she looked the first night. Dripping and trembling, whispering please. If I hit him, I'd just prove every rumor right. So I stood there, shaking. "Ms. Clark's voice finally cut in. "Enough." She shoved through the circle, her eyes blazing. "Back to class, all of you." The crowd scattered, muttering. Daniel gave me one last smirk before sliding away with them. I stood frozen until the hallway emptied. My breath shook like I'd run miles. At lunch, I found Liana under the jacaranda again. She looked up at me, reading my face instantly. "He did it, didn't he?" I sank onto the bench. "He read your messages." Out loud. Her jaw tightened. "Of course he did. Why didn't you tell me he was like this?" She looked at me sharply. "You think this is new? Daniel's been jealous since middle school. He doesn't like losing control. And now, he thinks he's losing you. He was supposed to be my best friend." Her voice softened. "Sometimes friends are the first to betray you." The word stung. Not because they were wrong, but because they were true. We sat in silence for a long time. Finally, she whispered, "Do you regret letting me in?" I looked at her, at the shadows under her eyes, the way she braced herself for the answer like it would break her. "No," I said. My voice shook, but it was honest. "I don't." For a moment, relief flickered across her face. Then she pulled her hood up, hiding it again. But as I sat there, I realized something deeper. Daniel wasn't done. He'd tasted blood, and he'd come back for more. And when he did, he wouldn't just aim at me. He'd aim at her. Chapter 6. The rumors turned at Labby Tuesday. It wasn't just whispers anymore. It was poison. People didn't laugh when I walked past, they sneered. Some muttered words under their breath I couldn't catch, but I knew they weren't kind. A couple of guys in the cafeteria clapped slow as I walked in, chanting, "Hero boy, hero boy." Until I sat down with my tray untouched. Daniel sat across the room, king of the fire heat started, smirking as people leaned in to hear whatever lie he was feeding them now. I stabbed my fork into the cold pasta, my hand trembling. "He won't stop," I muttered. Leona sat beside me, hood pulled low. "That's the point," she said softly. "He wants you broken. He wants me gone. Both, if he can." Her voice carried something heavier, darker than anger, something like resignation. I turned to her. "Why do you let them think the worst? Why don't you fight back?" Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Because fighting back makes it worse." I hated that she was right, still. It burned. By last period, the fire was an inferno. I heard the whispers clearly now. "She ruined him. She's toxic. She'll drag him down to." When the bell rang, Daniel caught me at the lockers. He slammed the door shut just as I opened it. "Enjoy yourself?" he asked, his grin wide and sharp. "Get out of my way," I said. "Or what? You'll cry about it to your little girlfriend." His voice rose, and people nearby slowed to listen. "Careful, man. One day she'll whisper to someone else, and you'll just be another idiot in her collection." I shoved him back, harder than I meant. His grin faltered, just for a second, before he leaned close. "You think she told you the truth? You think she hasn't lied before? Ask her about the people she owes. Ask her why they're really after her." His words sliced through me. "What are you talking about?" He smirked. "Oh, she didn't tell you? Guess you're not that special after all." I grabbed his collar. "Say it." He laughed in my face. "Ask her yourself." Miss Clark's voice cut in again. "Break it up." She yanked me back, glaring. "Both of you. Office. Now." We sat outside the principal's office, silent except for the ticking clock. Daniel leaned back, smug. "You'll thank me later," he said. "She's not who you think she is." I didn't answer. My pulse pounded to loud. After school, I found Leona waiting by the gates. Her eyes searched my face instantly. "What did he say to you?" I swallowed hard. "He said, you owe people, that someone's after you." Her shoulders stiffened. For the first time, I saw fear flash raw in her eyes. "Did you?" I asked quietly. She didn't answer. She just pulled her hood up and started walking. I caught her wrist. "Leona, tell me the truth." She froze, then pulled free. "Not here." We walked in silence all the way to my house. Inside, she paced the living room, chewing her lip. Finally, she stopped. "You shouldn't be involved in this," she whispered. "And what?" My voice cracked. She met my eyes, and this time, the mask shattered completely. "I owe money. A lot. To people who don't forgive easily." The air in the room thickened. "Why?" I asked. Her voice shook. "My stepfather. He gambles, drinks. When the debts came, he put them in my name, said it would teach me responsibility." Her laugh was bitter. "Now they want it back, and they don't care how." My chest hollowed. Suddenly, all of Daniel's smirks, the rumors, the whispers, it wasn't just teenage cruelty. It was blood in the water. "Why didn't you tell me?" I whispered. "Because you look at me differently." "I don't." "You will." Her eyes glistened, but she didn't let the tears fall. She just turned, pulling the blanket around herself like armor. I stood there, heart pounding, realizing Daniel had been right about one thing. I didn't know her, not fully, but I wanted to, even if it meant drowning in her storm. Chapter 7. Shattered. Trusty didn't sleep that night, not a second. I lay staring at the ceiling, every shadow in the room sharpening the question that gnawed at me. Had she come to me for safety, or because I was easy to use? By morning, my chest felt raw, like something heavy sat on it. When I walked into the kitchen, she was already there, wrapped in the blanket, sipping tea she hadn't touched yesterday. Her eyes flicked up. "You're awake early." "Didn't sleep," I muttered. The silence stretched, tense as wire. Finally, I slammed my hand on the table. She jumped. "Why didn't you tell me the truth from the beginning?" I snapped. Her face tightened. Because you pushed me away. You should have trusted me. You should have let me leave. Her voice cracked, raw and sharp. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she set the mug down slowly. You think I wanted this? She whispered. You think I enjoy begging people for help? I came to you because you weren't like them. You didn't stare at me like I was just another rumor. I thought maybe you'd understand. Understand what? My voice shook. That you're in debt to people who could kill you? That you lied to me while Daniel dragged me through hell at school? Her jaw clenched. Daniel was always going to betray you. That's who he is. Don't put that on me. I laughed bitterly. Convenient, everyone else is the villain but you. Her eyes flashed. You don't get it. You've never had someone hold your life in their hands, deciding whether you eat or starve, whether you breathe or… She broke off, turning away. Her shoulders trembled, but no tears fell. I almost reached for her, almost softened. But then I remembered the way Daniel had read those texts out loud, the way everyone had laughed. You dragged me into this, I said, without asking. She turned back, her face pale but steady. And you let me in. The words landed like a knife. Because she was right. I could have closed the door that night. I could have walked away. But I didn't. Still, anger bubbled. So what now? You just stay here until they show up at my door too. Her lips pressed tight for a long moment. She said nothing. Then, quietly, if you want me gone, say it. I'll go. The silence in the room was louder than thunder. I wanted to tell her to leave, to slam the door on all of it, the rumors, the fear, the weight. But when I opened my mouth, the words tangled. Instead, I said, I just want the truth. She looked at me, eyes wet now, shimmering in the dim light. The truth is I never meant to pull you into this. I thought I could handle it. But the night I came to your door, he couldn't anymore. I didn't know where else to go. Her voice broke, and the crack in it cut deeper than my anger. I sat back, swallowing hard. My chest ached with something twisted: anger, pity, longing, all knotted together. But the trust between us, it was cracked, maybe shattered. Go to school today, I said finally. Act normal. Let me think. She nodded, wiping her eyes quickly. She pulled her hood up and slipped out the door without another word. At school, the storm had only grown. People whispered openly now. Some smirked when I walked by. Others shook their heads like I was already lost. Daniel cornered me at the lockers again. Rough night, he sneered. I didn't answer. He leaned closer. Told you. She uses people. You're just another name on her list. For once, I didn't snap. I just looked him dead in the eye. Better to be used than to be the one who betrays. His smirk faltered. Just for a second. But when I walked away, my chest still felt hollow. That night, Leona didn't come back. The house was quiet. Too quiet. My phone stayed dark. Every creak made me think of her knock, but it never came. And as I lay there in the silence, I realized the worst part. I wasn't sure if I wanted her gone, or if I wanted her to come back, even if it broke me. Chapter 8. The fall of Danielle Thay's shift came quietly, like a rumor in reverse, for weeks. Daniel's voice had been the loudest in the room, echoing down halls, twisting truth until everyone swallowed his version. But by Thursday, something cracked. It started with Maya. She caught me outside the cafeteria, her eyes sharp and steady. Maya had always been Daniel's shadow, smiling when he bragged, nodding when he lied. But now she stood in front of me alone, arms crossed. Can we talk? She asked. I hesitated. About what? About him. I followed her behind the gym, where the walls smelled of dust and chalk. She pulled out her phone, scrolling fast, then stopped. Read this, she said. It was Daniel's messages, not to her, to another girl. The same lines he'd thrown at me, mocking, cruel, dripping with ego, promises he never kept, lies he recycled. My jaw tightened. Why are you showing me this? Because I'm done, she said, her voice trembling. I'm done covering for him. He pretends to care about me, about anyone, but he doesn't. He just wants to be in control. And when you stop listening to him, he went after you." Her words landed heavy, but not surprising. I'd always known Daniel's grin had knives. I just hadn't expected someone close to him to say it out loud. "People need to know," Maya said firmly, "and they'll believe it from me." By lunch, the whispers had shifted, for once. They weren't aimed at me. They were aimed at him. "Did you hear what Maya said? He's been cheating for months. He made up half the stuff about Liana." The laughter that had once followed me now trailed him. He stormed through the cafeteria, his grin gone, his eyes sharp and hunting for someone to blame. When they landed on me, I saw the fire there. "This isn't over," he muttered as he passed. Maybe not, but for the first time in weeks, I could breathe. After school, I sat under the jacaranda where Liana used to sit. The petals clung to my shoes, soft and weightless, but they felt heavier than stone. Daniel was finally slipping. His lies were unraveling. Justice, or something like it, had started. So why didn't I feel victorious? Because she wasn't there. The bench beside me was empty. No hood pulled low. No sharp comebacks. No tired smile that slipped when she thought no one noticed. Just silence. Daniel's downfall should have felt like a win. Instead, it felt hollow. That night, I sat in the living room, staring at the door like it might knock on its own. But it didn't. My phone buzzed once. A message from Maya. "Thank you for not letting him win." I almost typed back. He still did, because even with Daniel exposed, I was still the one left wondering where Liana had gone, and whether the storm she carried had finally swallowed her whole. Chapter 9. The rain returns. Rain came back Friday night. Harder this time. It hammered. The windows filled the gutters, turned the street into a black river. I sat by the door, half hoping, half dreading, my heart beating in time with the storm. And then 3 soft knocks. I froze. For a second, I thought I'd imagined it. But then knock, that I opened the door. Liana stood there, drenched again, her sweater clinging to her like it was part of her skin. But this time, she wasn't steady. Her shoulders sagged, her lips trembled, and her eyes those fierce, unreadable eyes were broken glass. "Hi," she whispered. The word cracked. I stepped aside. She stumbled in without waiting, collapsing onto the couch, pulling the blanket around herself like she had before. But now she shook, like the storm outside had followed her in. "Where have you been?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. She flinched. "Hiding." From who? From everyone. From myself. Her voice cracked on the last word, and my anger softened. But the ache in my chest stayed. "Why didn't you come back?" I whispered. Her eyes filled, finally spilling over. "Because I thought you hated me. I thought I ruined you like I ruin everyone. And I couldn't stand seeing it happen again." I sat down across from her, fist tight. "You hurt me. Liana. You lied. You kept secrets while Daniel dragged me through hell." "I know," she whispered. "And I'm sorry. I don't have excuses. I only have the truth. And it's ugly." But she stopped, breathing hard, shaking. "I didn't mean to fall for you. I didn't want to. But I did. And it scared me more than anything else." The words stunned me. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. "You what?" I asked quietly. Her eyes met mine, raw, pleading. "I fell for you. The way you looked at me like I wasn't poison, like I wasn't just another rumor. I don't deserve it. But it happened, and I don't know what to do with it." My chest ached, torn between anger and something deeper. "Do you even know what it's like for me?" Everyone turned on me. Daniel, the school, teachers, they all looked at me like I was nothing. And still, my voice cracked. "I still wanted you to knock again." Her breath caught. For the first time, she smiled, but it was broken, trembling. "Then I'm sorry I stayed away so long." The storm outside raged, thunder rolling like it wanted to swallow the house. Inside, The quiet between us was louder. I reached out slowly. She flinched, then let me take her hand, cold, fragile, but still hers. "Leona," I said softly, "I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if we can fix this. But I'm not going to abandon you. Not tonight, not when you came back." Her shoulders shook. She leaned forward, pressing her forehead against my chest. For the first time, she cried without hiding it. I wrapped my arms around her, feeling the storm in her body slowly ease. Like maybe she believed me. We sat there, tangled in silence, as the rain kept falling. And in that moment, I knew the truth. I didn't care if she was the storm. I'd rather drown with her than stay dry without her. Chapter 10. Closure or something like it. Morning came slow. The rain still steady outside, dripping from the eaves like the house itself was tired. I hadn't slept. Neither had she. Leona sat curled on the couch, the blanket around her shoulders, staring at nothing. Her eyes were swollen, her voice quiet when she finally spoke. "You should hate me," she whispered. "I don't," I said. "You should." I shook my head. "Hate doesn't fix anything. It just eats you alive. I've seen enough of that already." She looked at me then, really looked, and for once, the mask was gone. No bravado, no sharp comebacks. Just a girl too tired to pretend anymore. "I don't know how to be better," she admitted. "Every time I try, I mess it up. Every time someone trusts me, I ruin it. You should run before I do it again." The words got deep, but I realized something as I listened. She wasn't warning me. She was begging me to leave so I wouldn't get hurt. And somehow, that made me want to stay. "I don't need perfect," I said. "I just need honest. Even if it's ugly, even if it's hard." She blinked, tears threatening again. "You're going to regret this." "Probably," I said with a shaky laugh. "But not tonight." We sat in silence for a long time. Outside, the rain slowed, but the sky stayed heavy, gray and endless. Finally, she stood, pulling the blanket tighter. "I can't stay here forever. If I do, they'll find me. And if they find me here, they'll drag you down too." I stood with her. "Then I'll walk with you." Her head snapped up. "What?" I said. "I'll go. Wherever you need to. I'm tired of sitting still, waiting for storms to pass. If you're in one, then I'll walk through it too." Her lips parted, trembling. "You don't mean that." "I do," I said. "I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I don't know if I'll regret it. But I know one thing: I'd regret letting you walk into it alone." For a long moment, she just stared at me. Then, slowly, she reached out, her fingers brushing mine. Shaking, hesitant, but real. We walked to the door together. I opened it. The rain misted down, softer now, but the air still smelled of storms. She hesitated, glancing at me. "You're really doing this?" she asked. I squeezed her hand. "Yeah, I am." She let out a breath, shaky but almost like relief. Then we stepped out into the rain. The street was quiet, empty except for the sound of water sliding into drains. Each step felt uncertain, but it was ours, together. Maybe I was a fool. Maybe she'd ruin me the way everyone said. But as the cold rain soaked into my skin, as her hand tightened in mine, I realized something. Ruin wasn't the worst thing. Sometimes ruin is just the start of something new. And for the first time in weeks, I wasn't afraid.